Breaking. Iran strikes Prince Sultan Air Base. U.S. troops wounded, aircraft destroyed. Date of attack: Friday, March 27, 2026. Location: Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia. What happened? At least 10 U.S. troops were injured on Friday, 2 of them seriously, in an Iranian attack on Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. The strike also damaged at least 2 U.S. Air Force refueling aircraft. The attack involved both an Iranian ballistic missile and unmanned drones, according to a U.S. official who spoke anonymously due to the sensitivity of the matter. Among the aircraft damaged were multiple refueling tankers and an E-3 Sentry AWACS command and control aircraft, one of the most strategically critical surveillance and battle management planes in the U.S. Air Force inventory. A photo showing significant damage to an E-3 circulated online, though it could not be independently confirmed at time of reporting. All 10 personnel were reportedly inside an installation building at the time of the attack. Why Prince Sultan Air Base matters. Prince Sultan Air Base is one of the most important U.S. military hubs in the entire Middle East, hosting a wide array of aircraft directly supporting ongoing operations against Iran under Operation Epic Fury. Hosting this base isn't a random strike. It is a deliberate targeting of the logistical and operational backbone of American air power in the region. Refueling tankers extend the range and endurance of fighter jets, bombers, and surveillance aircraft. Taking them out degrades U.S. sortie capacity. An AWACS aircraft is effectively a flying command center. Its loss or damage affects battlefield awareness across the entire theater. The human cost: mounting U.S. casualties. Over 300 U.S. service members have now been wounded since Operation Epic Fury began on February 28, 2026. 13 American service members have been killed in the conflict overall. American service member Army Sergeant Benjamin Neen Pennington, 26 years old, died days after being wounded in a March 1st attack on this same base, meaning Prince Sultan has now been struck multiple times with lethal consequences. Iran's strategic messaging. This attack is significant for a specific reason. The U.S. military had been publicly projecting dominance. Just 2 days before this attack, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper declared that Iranian missile and drone launches were down by more than 90% since the start of the conflict, and that over 2/3 of Iran's missile, drone, and naval production facilities had been damaged or destroyed. Yet Iran remains capable of launching precision strikes, as this episode makes clear, continuing to hit key U.S. bases and targets across the region, even with diminishing military assets. The message from Tehran is unmistakable. We are still in this fight. Even a degraded Iran can cause strategic pain. The broader regional picture on March 27th. This strike did not occur in isolation. Friday was one of the most intense days of the conflict since it began. Israel-Iran exchange. Late Friday, Israeli military confirmed Iran had launched fresh missiles at the country, with sirens in Beersheba and near the Israeli main nuclear research center. An AP journalist reported loud explosions across Tel Aviv, with emergency services responding to 11 different impact sites. A man in his 60s died after sustaining severe injuries. Israel strikes Tehran. Israel targeted sites in the heart of Tehran, where ballistic missiles and weapons are produced, as well as missile launchers and storage sites in western Iran. Lebanon front. Israel deployed the 102nd Division into southern Lebanon to counter Hezbollah, while Lebanon's health ministry confirmed 2 people were killed in strikes on Beirut. Gulf states under fire. Saudi Arabia's defense ministry confirmed it intercepted missiles and drones targeting Riyadh. Kuwait reported that Shiwuk Port and the under-construction Mubarak al-Kabir Port, part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, sustained material damage, marking one of the first times a Chinese-affiliated infrastructure project in the Gulf has been struck in this war. Diplomacy collapsing in real time. The attack comes as a diplomacy track was supposedly underway. Trump envoy Steve Witkoff confirmed the U.S. delivered a 15-point action plan to Iran through Pakistan as an intermediary, proposing restrictions on Iran's nuclear program and reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran rejected the U.S. proposal and presented its own 5-point counteroffer, which included reparations and formal recognition of its sovereignty over the strait. Trump publicly claimed peace talks were going very well and said he had given Tehran more time to act. Iran flatly denied any negotiations were taking place. The U.S. military response: more boots, more firepower. Rather than pulling back, Washington is escalating its military presence. The Pentagon is preparing to deploy at least 1,000 troops from the 82nd Airborne Division, a rapid reaction parachute force trained to seize airfields in hostile territory, along with 2 Marine units adding roughly 5,000 Marines and thousands of additional sailors to the region. Despite the troop surge, Secretary of State Marco Rubio maintained Friday that the U.S. can achieve all its objectives without a ground invasion. Economic shockwaves. Brent crude oil reached $107 a barrel, up more than 45% since the war began on February 28th. Iran's continued stranglehold through shipping through the Strait of Hormuz has intensified fears of a global energy crisis, with a Gulf Arab bloc confirming that Iran has been collecting tolls from vessels seeking safe passage through the waterway. Humanitarian alarm. The UN's International Organization for Migration reports that 82,000 civilian buildings in Iran, including hospitals, have been damaged, displacing 180,000 people. The Norwegian Refugee Council warned that millions could be forced across borders if the war continues, creating pressure on an already overstretched region. The big picture. What this means. This strike is a watershed moment. Iran struck a heavily fortified U.S.-controlled base deep inside a Gulf Arab ally's territory using a combination of missiles and drones and caused serious casualties and aircraft damage. It demonstrates 3 things simultaneously. Iran's reach is not broken. Despite CENTCOM's 90% reduction claims, Iran can still hit high-value targets. The war is spreading. Israel, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Israel, the conflict is no longer confined to Iran's borders. Diplomacy is fracturing. The gap between Washington's 15-point demand list and Tehran's 5-point counteroffer, including Hormuz sovereignty, is enormous. A ceasefire is not close. This story is still developing. Casualty figures may rise, and a U.S. military response to this specific attack is expected.